Well, we will have to see. You know what's an absolute travesty that we never got to see?
Nope.
CE versus Merry Day MVP Black.
Yes.
That is a travesty. The two best Monk players in the world. Bakery's nipping at the heels there, very close. Same with SMX and Splendor, I would argue, as well as in there. Oh my god, we have so many good Monk players.
Yeah.
But those two, at least for the Eastern regions, that would have been incredible. And it's such a shame that Merry Day is retired.
Absolutely. He left a big gap, Merry Day that is, and that is a gap that Alufal is eager to fill, especially when it comes to Karazin play, but also in terms of, proving to be the best support in the world, which Alufal from China would be, a very interesting candidate for, and we're going to find out at BlizzCon this year, once and for all, who's going to take the trophy home. And me personally... Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, Arthas as the first ban here. Nice and solid one. Genji being hovered for beyond the game. Now, once again, this is a reasonable hero. Not something we've seen, highly prioritized by CE, but if it's there, they'll take it.
They'll take it for sure, and once again, the garage is ready, as Tetris said, and Paradise on the bottom right. We can't forget about him. Once labeled a little bit of a weakness, a little bit of a, soft spot for other teams to capitalize on, he has definitely grown over the years. One of the most solid flex players. He plays a lot of melee assassins. He can jump into that bruiser role as well. Formidable Illidan player, and is probably going to hop on that first big Malthael too.
Oh, here we have the Malthael hopping in here, and I'm just checking. Currently, very low in terms of compared. Considering he's not been in the game for a significant amount of time, he's not one of their highest pixel bans, but he's up there. 3% ban rate, 20% pick rate, aka 23% popularity in general. Overall, 66% win rate with the hero. 4 wins, 2 losses.
Yeah, really solid. And of course, we forgot to mention that the first battleground is going to be Battlefield of Eternity. It looks a little bit similar to Infernal Shrines, but whenever there's Infernal Shrines being locked in, you can see a Punisher face just screaming at you. So, Battlefield of Eternity, oh, that is a lot of single target damage on those Immortals, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, it is, and also we have to remember, what did we see yesterday from Beyond the Game? What was the new hashtag that we coined? Get Fished! And that is very much due to Fish.
Yes, sir.
Very scary player.
And I mean, CE, they basically gave him a big clue. They banned out Arthas, and they were like, okay, so we don't want the Lich King anywhere near us. And BTG took that piece of information, and they were like, okay, so let's go for all those melee assassins. Let's go for all those engaging damage dealers. And Illidan, most importantly, will have a blast unless there's more shutdown on the side of CE. But so far, he looks extremely happy because no slows, no roots, good times. Ah, man, Turiel once again. I'm not sure what I think about this.
It's a risky pick. But it's a good job just to deny it away from material, from an Illidan composition. So I'm down with it. Illidan Greymane Tyrael is always absolutely terrifying if you're fighting on a point, which there's a good chance you will be if you're fighting under an Immortal.
Yeah, absolutely true. Absolutely true. The thing is, Tyrael is most likely going to be a solo tank here, because if they go for another warrior, it's going to be 4 melees already. And I'm not sure if that works out too well. CE did in fact go for a similar approach with an Alrek yesterday, going for a 4 melee comp, and they paid dividends. They paid the blood price. It did not pay off dividends for them. So yeah. I would really not like them to repeat the same mistake from yesterday.
Tyrael currently has a 23% pick rate. For CE, very much one of their higher pick rates overall. In fact, the only heroes that are higher than him are Anubarak, Ariel, Greymane, and Arthas.
Gotcha.
So they very much seem to be a fan of him, and he does have a positive win rate, along with most of the heroes that they have ever. Interestingly, they have a 0% win rate on one particular tank. Can you get in 2 tanks actually? And that would be ETC and Stitches.
Wow. I would have actually guessed Stitches.
0% win rate from Stitches and ETC.
Yeah, I would have guessed Stitches because I can't recall a single good Wind Stitches game. Wind, of course, their main tank player.
Very true.
So, Tyrael is kind of like a double-edged sword here. On the one hand, he's kind of a liability because if they really want to have a solid, stable front lane, they're going to have to go for another warrior, making them a 4 melee comp. On the other hand, exactly in those melee death ball compositions, Tyrael thrives. He brings the sanctification, making them unstoppable. He provides massive AoE shielding. So it's kind of like, you know, depending on execution. If the death ball works out, no problem. If it doesn't, you're going to be in trouble.
Kendrick, is this a Cho'Gall comp?
It could very well be.
It is not.
Oh,
Okay,
it could
I
have been
was
done.
just looking at it and I was like, that is open and viable. Cursed Bullets there though, but Divine Shield, Sanctification could have been done. Instead, they're going for Valor, very strong, powerful hero in general. Now, what are they going to pick up with it? Second tank, more damage, a little bit of both. They're going for Zarya, a little bit
I
of
have
everything.
never seen a Zarya on the side of CE. I mean, I could be wrong because they've played many a game.
You are wrong. It's not there. I'm checking now. Hit Sort Hero by Alphabet. Nope, never a Zarya. First time.
So we can't really predict who's going to play it. Maybe it's going to be KTY, maybe Zuyu, because unlike other ranged assassins, Zuyu is willing to diversify his hero pool. He plays in Zebo every now and then. He played a Tyrael yesterday. He could very well land on that Zarya, and I am not sure what to think of this team comp that CE brought to the table. I've never seen anything like it, actually.
So sustainy. It's so sustainy. Yeah. They've got so much protection from Malthael and Valor, two of the best heroes when it comes to just killing stuff. So I am down with this. If they can do this well, it will be absolutely devastating. Also, there's the smallest possibility of something else being ticked off the list with the Graviton Surge, which, to be honest, Graviton
with Malthael?
I was about to say, Tormented Souls, Graviton Surge sounds kinda great, but it's unlikely, unfortunately.
So, one thing we always have to consider when it comes to playing on Battlefield of Eternity is immortal damage. Single target damage. Now, beyond the game, they brought a lot of that. They brought Li Ming, Greymane, and Illidan. Do you think CE has what it takes to even outrace them?
I don't think they need to. I think they go for team fights. I don't think they want to outrace because they can't. Like, Valor is spectacular at the race. Malthael helps. They have the opportunity to at least burn shields off and get themselves really squishy immortals to kill. But otherwise, I think they're just going to be looking for fights.
Okay.
Make the most of those shields.
Especially when it comes to defending, I think they have an insanely stable roster. Couple of shields, strong heals by Uther as well. It's going to be extremely hard to push them off the objective once they're all stable there. So, I'm not brave enough to actually go for any predictions here because I've never seen a team comp like that on the side of CE. But I can tell you one thing, guys. It's going to be one hell of the match. Let's get ready. Give it up for both teams. We have BTG, a newcomer, against the big dog. That is CE.
I'm going to say one thing before we load in.
Go ahead.
That is, we did ask for people to step out of their comfort zones.
Yep.
CE have stepped out of their comfort zone and they've brought shields with them because it's scary out the comfort zone. More ways use protection. So I am hyped. I'm leading CE. I think their sustain is just insane here and they've got super good poke damage.
Oh yeah, like judging from raw experience, CE is definitely on the winning side, on the favorite side here. But BTG is a young team, a hungry team. They took a map of KT yesterday, and they're gonna try to repeat the same procedure here against CE with Zarya showing up for the very first time in this season of HGC China. Will it be enough? We're gonna find out in a bit, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned. CE versus BTG. Alright, and on the left-hand side, ladies and gentlemen, in the blues, a new and upcoming team, BTG, represented by A on the Li Ming, 619 on the Anubrek Fish, on Illidan, MJ on the Rhaegar, and ST on the Greymane.
And on the right-hand side, it is going to be CE, with Alufal on Uther, Wind on Tyrael, KTY on Valor, Paradise on the Malthael, and Zuyu is on the Zarya.
Did I just spot a KT logo in the middle of all those CE players?
Maybe, I wasn't looking.
Who screwed it up? 50 DKP minus. There we go.
Who did this? So also we do have we see KTY once again becoming even more flex, as we have seen him done a lot recently. He is currently being the ranged assassin in the form of the Valor.
Yep, very true. So very, very cool to observe that. Zuyu actually proving once again why he is one of the most flexible, one of the most bendable warriors, assassins in the league. Well, he's technically not an assassin anymore by now. He's a pure flex god. Because I cannot name you any other players who plays this. Dear. Oh, Aluful.
Not much you could do about that. 4-man gang while you're rotating, beautifully executed by Beyond the Game.
At least he bought a little bit of time for Malthael to stay safe. Come on, Malthael. Don't die on me. There's a lot of icons. Oh no, Paradise!
He's going, he's still alive, never mind, he's dead. And we're seeing a fort base race by the looks of it.
This is terrible.
This lane's taking too long to clear.
This is terrible for CE. They now are about to lose a top fort if they don't send anyone else there. Yep, Tyrael and I think Zarya. No, Tyrael and Uther already on the move here. Yeah. They're going in, but
which is potentially about to backfire on them.
What is going on, Tetcher?
Beyond the Game with the hyper aggression, just diving consistently. Uther dropping a couple heals onto win, but that's the first fall of the game. Punishment attempt coming in by CE. It's a 3 versus 4 here with Fish as the focus. A noob in escape as well. Fish dead. 619 dead. And the kill counts are still in favor of Beyond the Game. The Hungry Arrow very nearly changing that. But CE, they still lost the fort.
But destroying a fort so early is incredibly huge for BTG on this map on Battlefield of Eternity. Every fort, every keep counts because they can really prevent Immortals from tearing your defenses apart. And I'm not sure if CE was planning on facing such fierce resistance on the side of BTG.
Well, either way, their CE's kills worked out far better in terms of timing because they were able to get 3 Immortals damage.
True.
Now, as long as they don't die here, they're in a much better position. And in fact, they don't. They're able to clear the lanes nice and easy. They've already half-healthed the Immortal, got the halftime show, and now we see BTG having to defend on CE's side of the map while Zarya just pokes in. A Nubarak with a lovely wraparound. Zarya in danger. Zuyu, though, tanking through it. And it's going to be Rhaegar who dies, and down goes Fish, and this is CE. They're punishing the overgreed finally.
Exactly. BTG, they got a little bit too overzealous. They tried to get more than they could have possibly gone for. I mean, it was a very ambitious play. The flank from behind by Nubrek was, or looked good on paper, but if they don't get the kill immediately with this much of engagement and this much of blow-up burst damage, they're not going to get anything done. Li Ming is all dependent on resets. If they don't get that, Illidan is not going to thrive. Li Ming is not going to thrive at all. And CE, despite losing a fort in the first 2 minutes, can now seem to equalize the score by dropping in with a big, juicy, and powerful Immortal. They need to get something done now. But they already have a 1-level lead. Holy cow.
Yep, once again, really nice play by Beyond the Game. The hyper aggression netting them kills with their early game kills. CE, they, even though they lost, they really shouldn't have lost those early game kills. They've managed to do everything almost perfectly from then on. They've punished correctly, won team fights when they needed to, and are now pushing with this Immortal, and they're gonna easily be able to get a fort out of this, most likely.
Yeah, and keep in mind that they have all the protective pieces assembled around Vala. That's everything they want to have. The Zarya shields, the Uther heals, the Tyrael shields. It is now extremely hard to actually reach KTY, let alone, like, take him out. And I think BTG realizes that. They're focusing entirely on the Immortal. They're not even trying to get anything else done. Stun lands on Tyrael, though, but no, there's no way he's gonna die.
He's taking a lot of damage, has to use Eldritch Bite, does drop very low, but the fort survives, and that's actually really good for Beyond the Game. Yeah, Zuyu is not in the best position. There's no fort for him to run to here. I don't like his him or Aluful's positioning here.
Yeah, beautiful impale into the Vision Obscured terrain here, actually anticipating that someone on the side of CE would be peeking and scouting, and this alone shows you all the experience and map awareness that BTG has. This is something that we would have never seen of the likes of Wukong Gaming last season, who just blatantly walked into many a trap throughout the season.
Exactly. KTY just dodging, eating another Arcane Orb. BTG were able to take the Z-Paler camp, and that will put some pressure onto the top lane. Paradise has rotated it up, though. What can he do? Moving on to 619, dodging the Impale, but there's no lockdown, no follow-up.
Yeah, also dodging the Arcane Orb here on the side of Li Ming. That's huge, actually. Li Ming definitely wants to make sure to land those a little bit more often. The Impaler camp has been dealt with. In the meantime, Malthael needs to get back to bottom so they won't miss that much experience in his absence. Now, very cool build on the side of Zarya. We see Zuri going for a grenade-heavy build. And that is normally the way to go. In my opinion, if you're relying on poking enemies from afar, going for the grenade build, double talent at 1 and 7 is just simply the way to go. Keep in mind that speed barrier at level 4 is also going to provide massive mobility on someone like, let's say, Malthael or Vala to either engage or get out of harm's way. So far, I really like it.
I'm liking it too. CE, they're looking shaky in some areas. That's aggressive by Paradise, using that speed shield though to micro in and out. Lufel though is the one being targeted. Here comes KTY, allowing them to turn it around. Paradise will drop though. Lufel very low as well. So the camp lost and a kill taken by Beyond the Game.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how BTG got away with that as well. Like, if you focus that many resources and damage cooldowns on Uther, you're normally about to get punished, because even if Uther dies, his Holy Spirit can still keep people alive. However, BTG managed to zone him out, and as a result, they got the kill on Malthael, so really, really well played. But the grenades, they hammer in from Zuyu, they take a kill. And once again, as you said earlier, Tetcher, they make the kills count. They kill people when it actually matters, namely when the Immortals have spawned.
That was such an unnecessary death.
True.
Greymane could have just taken the long way around and just been safe. He should not have needed to die. Did not need to die here. Rhaegar has no choice. He is in a situation where he did not have the option to not die. Now we're seeing Anubrak. He desperately tried to save his teammate, and he's getting punished for it. Sometimes it's just let him go. Sometimes it's just better.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, did I promise you too much? 13 kills after 7 minutes already. This is China in a nutshell. I actually announced today's stream with 20 plus kills on average per game. And so far, in this one, we're on a good path.
Expulsion zone, unfortunately. My list remains unchanged. No one else can do anything to change it, unfortunately.
And almost fully stacked too on the grenade talent on the demolitions expert at level 1 here. If Zarya successfully completes it, the grenades are going to have a larger radius and a much lower cooldown.
Once again, there's going to be another CE Immortal. Nice and easy. Nice damage by BTG to drop some of the shields.
True.
Forcing Wind and Alufal back.
Forcing them back for now in unlocking the second Immortal, excuse me, my bad. On the side of CE, and this time they're going to make sure to get a structure for sure. Bottom lane, of course, is the healthier lane. The Immortal always flies to a lane where more buildings are left standing, and it wouldn't surprise me if they fully commit onto this bottom lane, because they already have level 10. They don't need to split soak at this point. They don't need to push anything in the Immortal's absence, so full 5-man pressure here on the side of CE.
They are easily going to get the fort, making up for the one they did not achieve in top lane, which is still there, very low, was dropped down, but they are still going. As we see the rest of CE pushing in, here comes a strafe, interrupted by a Nubrak, but a good shield by Zarya keeping alive, good Divine Storm, interrupted by the Sanctification, sorry, not Sanctification, the Cleanse, as they keep moving forward, Expulsion zone, separate ST, and we do see him go down.
Wind falls. No, he shields himself one last time, throwing down the Eldruins. But no, he's not going to jump over the wall with the Angelic Flash. But that was so well played. Like a symphony, CE played that team fight. Baiting everyone in on the Vala. KTY was going extremely deep, but he was well aware of the fact that there was a Zarya shield, an Uther heal, and, of course, then they retaliated. When everyone was going deep on KTY, everyone clumped up. That was when the Divine Storm hit multiple people, and CE retaliated beautifully in that team fight. They played their opponents like a violin.
Violin, as they have been able to pick up a keep and a fort in one Immortal phase. Very nicely done by them. That top four also made out of paper mache. They can take that whenever they please. CE beginning to snowball.
And I really like the adjustment coming in from BTG as well here, though. Not going for the hunt, going for raw team fighting with a Metamorphosis on Illidan. I think that was the right decision. Still not sure how I feel about not going Curse Bullet here, because I think on both Trivial or Malthael, that would have probably provided them with more damage. Ignoring armor of Uther, for example. With the shields and the armor from Uther, I'm not sure if Go for the Throat will ever see some decent value. But, of course, if they all time it well, and if they find someone isolatedly, Go for the Throat might still be a decent choice.
You see that He's scouting and getting a little bit of poke. You can see how aggressive Alufal was going because he had the speed shield on him from Zarya, so he was just able to put the pressure on.
It's almost like Uther had sprint again, like in the alpha.
Exactly, it's a good combo. Very good combo. See the pressure onto the other keep already. It's looking like it might be a fort for a treat, Cabe. Wind is looking to try and prevent ports, but right now, not only the ports are finally happening, and that's going to force CE back. But now that front wall's open, and that's where the next Immortal will be going.
Exactly, and nice little detail to keep in mind here. When you play with an Illidan era team, I mean, I'm normally always a big fan of destroying wall pieces, right? Because they provide vision to the enemy team. They can sometimes hinder your movement when trying to get away from enemy heroes. But if you have heroes like Illidan era team who can actually use those wall pieces to their own advantage, it is oftentimes worth ignoring them or leaving them still standing.
In this composition, there is only one hero who does not benefit. There are two heroes who benefit from walls. Three, actually. Rhaegar, Pharaoh Lunge, Greymane jumps, and Greymane cocktails. He can bounce cocktails off walls, which is fantastic. And Illidan. The only people who don't benefit are Nubrek and Li Mings. So, I agree. I think they should just be leaving them up.
Yeah. It's a really cool detail that I think especially the pro teams are paying a lot of attention to. Like sometimes we want to destroy the walls when you have heroes like Stitches who can hook people in, but if you have those, or if you can use walls as mobility tools, you can really just leave them standing. But this Immortal is now super close. 13.6k against 14.4k. Both teams are fighting each other in the middle here. Xayah shields are used. Look at how many shields Tyrael can unleash if he uses his righteousness as well. It's crazy.
Yeah, there is shields and heals for days. It's a very, very sustainy team here. And right now, like we said, beyond the game, struggling to break through it in the team fights. They were able to pick up kills earlier when people were isolated, but right now, it's not going so well for them.
And I mean, there is actually a decent amount of poke here, but hold that thought. Zarya is getting engagement, but the explosion zone locks a Nubrek in. He's about to fall. Beautiful sink.
And we saw there the speed Malthael with a shield on him and the Tormented Souls, but he does finally drop down. Illidan's in the backline.
It's not over.
Though. Good value. Zuyu dropping the shield. Focus with Disintegrate. He's dropped. Wins on his own. He tries to teleport out, but now he's can he get a kill? Oh, Greymane survives. But here's Valor looking to try and solo, but she gets 4v1'd. Sorry, 4v2'd. Alufal, the only survivor, and that was a disaster for CE. Beautiful beautiful damage onto Zarya, which really set up those kills.
Yeah, Zarya basically had to use all of her abilities in a panic switch reaction. Zuyu a little bit threatened here, used the explosion to keep himself alive, and they did get the kill on Nubrek, but as it oftentimes happens in Heroes of the Storm, they used so many cooldowns and so much damage just to get that Nubrek out of the way, and as a result, they could retaliate. We're going to take another look at this teamfight, Tetcher.
You can see there Zuyu separating out a noob, and they easily burst him down, but now Zuyu is a little bit vulnerable. Malthael has done a fantastic job in the backline, but in order to get to him, they're now all grouped up. They start taking burst damage. Illidan's been left unattended, and with Malthael gone, they are all a little bit too low.
That was actually so well played by BTG. If they had used this Ancestor Healing on a Nubrek, for example, it was not really 100% sure if it had gone through in the first place, and maybe Illidan would have been the focus target as a result, so they saved those precious cooldowns until the very last minute, the Metamorphosis and the Ancestral Healing, and combined, they really made sure that CE did regret this teamfight.
Indeed, and they may regret this one too. Uther finds Illidan. That does force a friend or foe out, which prevents some of the engaged potential. Holy ground.
Nice.
And that's a good way to guarantee a boss. Not a boss, sorry, it's an Impaler camp. This is the wrong map. No bosses here.
Yeah, still really cool. He could have used it on the platform, of course, as well. But why use it on the platform when you could just prevent the entire access to that horseshoe in the bottom lane?
I mean, if you use it on the platform, you prevent someone from moving on to the point, which might have been a noob. If you use it further on and a noob does decide to dive, noob's on the point now, but he's on the point with your team and he's alone.
Suyu once again in trouble.
Good stank. Here's the expulsion zone. They're trying to focus on Noob, who is surviving. Malthael into the backline, though. But like I said, Vala's dead. Cocoon on Malthael, preventing the damage. The shields are good, but there's no damage. Down goes Zuyu. Paradise is fleeing for his life. Alufal going the other way. It's a full split-up escape attempt by CE as they lose another fight.
Yeah, and I think a Lufel on the Uther is going to fall eventually because Illidan is just too sticky. Malthael managed to get out of harm's way though. 2 survivors, the Angels, living for now. But this is the time in the game where BTG needs to get some value in, especially in the bot lane where they lost the keep earlier already. 5 seconds until Vala comes back. And there must have been some severe miscommunication going on here because KTY is not supposed to die that early. So maybe the shields weren't ready, maybe they were on cooldown, but they tried to go for the exact same approach like in the previous team fight. Bait the enemy team into focus KTY, and when they're just about to go in, you stun them all with an Uther Divine Storm. But this time, the enemies actually succeeded in taking him out. So this was the worst possible case for CE. And I think for future fights, if Vala dies so quickly, they need to disengage. They can't even try to fight and win anymore because there will be a severe lack of damage.
Yeah, for all the protection that CE has in their composition, they're still getting dropped. They're still getting bursted.
I don't like it. And as time goes by, I think BTG is going to be a lot stronger. They have the late game with Illidan being that killing machine, with, you know, the Greymane and the Li Ming also dealing a lot more damage, and I think CE just doesn't really scale that well. Vala is okay, Malthael is fine, but Zarya, Turiel, they're not really those late game powerhouses, Tetra.
No, they are not. And we also had a failed attempt on a Nubrak in that last fight due to the expulsion zone pushing them away from the sanctification, so a Noob could just walk away. Oh, we can see them moving in now. Holy Ground not landing,
that was
but
a
it
good
does
one.
give them a little bit of time, some positioning to work down the enemy Immortal. Gonna bring it to half.
That was a really good Holy Ground as well, because Zuyu in the backline, he did get stunned by the Immortals, so there was no way he could have joined the team fights anytime soon. Unfortunately, the Fallen Shaman Camp Force CE gets taken out in the top lane. That could have been a serious threat for BTG. As of now, they only need to deal with one lane. And actually, Illidan is doing a fantastic job together with the Mercenary Camp to keep this lane clean and maybe even put the pressure up to C.
The Wind Holy Ground has been doing such work in this game right now. Second, now that he's taken it, you can see them, they're very grouped up. It was very much down to Zuyu to try and just poke down this Immortal right now until BTG see their opportunity. This is the opportunity. This is just BTG waiting for them to group up and preparing to engage.
Zuyu, though, he needs to be careful. He is always the main front liner. Using his personal shield at level 13, Pain is temporary. So that is a long, massive, and important cooldown that BTG needs to capitalize on now. I think it is 60 seconds. They're just dancing around.
This bottom Fallen Shaman camp will be taken out due to catapults in that bottom lane, so that will actually be cleared up nice and quickly. You can see there, the Shaman itself is down in the catapults, and the Keep themselves will finish off the rest. The Immortals very slowly dropping down, so you get slowed by a totem, but staying through that. Tyrael potentially too deep, but damage onto ST. Illidan suddenly on his own gets cleansed, and that's enough. Didn't burn the Divine Storm for that, and that's good for CE.
Yeah, you could really see how CE's team fighting behavior changed once Zuyu took a massive Arcane Orb into his shield. So they want to wait until Zarya has at least 50% energy. Before that, they do not want to risk a team fight because Zarya will take too long to actually get rolling.
Ooh. Paradise takes an orb. Lots of damage. KTY not in range for the Hungering Arrow, but the grenade's still in range. Wind finds a 169 there. Decides not to Eldorins.
Look at Uther's mana pool. This poking, this constant poking is taking its toll.
Expulsion zone is good. Good sanctification, though. This is what they needed. The combo finally executing, but Ancestral on Fish in the backline. It's still not enough, Kendrick. There's 2 for 2 right now as the fight keeps going. Illidan finally has been left alone. The rest of his team wins the Immortal. What are you doing? Illidan's still fighting.
Yeah, they're still team fighting, and Malthael is still alive. That poison damage from his trade can actually ruin Illidan's day, and both teams lost 2 team members. The difference is no more healing on the side of BTG, whereas Uther is still there to keep everyone safe and sound. And CE, after a vicious, savage, and brutal team fight, takes the lead and secures themselves yet another Immortal. A weak one, but it is still the Punisher. And this fight, Tetra, was crazy. It could have gone either way. Once again, an early lockdown, an early kill secured on the Nubrak, but they lost KTY in the process. They did lose Zuyu again. It always feels like when they get an early Nubrak, Illidan is just going to clean house. The ancestral healing kept them safe and sound, and even the dominance from Li Ming providing so much value.
I honestly think that was a big mistake by BTG to actually go for the Immortal there and not help Illidan. Illidan was fighting 3 versus 1. He was a great distraction, but he then dropped too low and they couldn't fight anymore. And they ruined their opportunity to try and sneak some stuff. Speaking of sneaking some stuff, where's CE going?
Yeah, they're trying to get that bottom lane here. Maybe if Illidan steps out forward a little bit too much. No, Fish knows, right? He needs to know.
They're fishing
They're fishing the fish.
They're fishing for Illidan! Can they catch it? Oh,
explosion!
Explosion! Oh, down goes Fish.
So well calculated by CE, predicting where Illidan might try to run away with the Metamorphosis. Just Zuyu casually walking in there. Oh my goodness, the lockdown almost happening here with that holy ground. But Zuyu on the Zarya just casually walking in, and the strongest woman in the world dropped down that explosion, predicting the movement path of Illidan, catching him mid-air, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be another keep. Without Illidan, without their main carry, BTG cannot defend that.
Yeah, it's just poke now. Li Ming is trying to do what she can. Tyrael even tanks a couple shots via shields. Li Ming trying to do everything, so many lasers, and Zarya can't get in range. The poke damage from Li Ming is too high.
Yeah. So they're basically dancing away a little bit from BTG because they're waiting for Zarya's and Uther's cooldowns to be ready again. They do not want to take unnecessary poke when those heals and shields are not ready. Also, keep in mind, no level 20 available. CE needs to farm a little bit more XP, and they're taking this Impaler camp to do exactly that. Once level 20 hits, things are going to look mighty scary for BTG because that keep can be backdoored at any given time now. Level 20 is here. We see the strafe upgrade, so piercing rounds or piercing bolts now.
Revive for Malthael, Holy Arena. This could be the game changer here for CE. Uther yet to pick. I prefer Redemption, but I wouldn't hate the extra radius. It's Redemption. That's
there we go.
Like I said, would prefer it. And the reset on the shields for Zarya.
Yeah. Very important. So unyielding defender on Zarya, double shield, and here we go. CE is not hesitating with that level 20 online. They want to force the decision right here, right now.
Uh-oh, ST, too far forward, but Expulsion so just short. They left a tiny enough gap for ST to fit through.
If they had locked in the Greymane here with both the Holy Ground and the Expulsion Zone, I think this could have been game. Of course, the Ancestral Healing was still ready, but that would have been a huge commitment already, and I think CE could have probably just snowballed from there. So very unfortunate. Zuyu needs to aim the next one a little bit better.
He does, and now we're seeing CE beginning the race. You immediately see the action from BTG and begin to work on it as well. Looks like, once again, CE with their head start are good, and once again, the race is pretty even overall, but Greymane wasn't even there for that race.
Yeah, Greymane had to defend 2 mercenary camps in the top lane because that fort, or that keep, excuse me, would have fallen otherwise. And this is where BTG need to go ham. If that Immortal goes through, they lost the game for sure.
Expulsion Zone may have to be used here. This is a safety tool. Paradise is in danger. Tormented Souls. Good teleport into the backline. Rejoining his team beautifully. Sank is still available. They haven't even used that yet as they turn onto Illidan. And where were all these fights earlier when they didn't need their heroics? So A is currently still alive. Just chilling here. They finally found him. And A will drop. The core is dying. It's just ST to try and defend, but it's not going to be enough because the rest of CE are moving across the map. That's going to be GG, and CE will take game number 1.
Yeah, 2 major winning conditions here. They actually left the Immortal at 750 health. Come on, Brew. That guy wanted to play as well one last time, but they don't even need it. They could have gone with the Immortal or without it. Didn't really matter. The core is theirs, and CE did not disappoint. After a strong showing from BTG in the mid-late game, CE was just too experienced. They played their composition too well, and they're happy about that 1-0 lead.
Glorious final fight, and like you said, 1-0 lead. CE looking to isolate. You can see in the audience there, the reflection of the screen. Guess who's watching? It's SPT.
Here we go. SPT closely watching what CE has to offer. And I gotta say, that composition was something I've never seen before in China. And it worked pretty well at times, but it also had its weaknesses. So it all came down to the execution once more. And did we promise you guys too much? I think someone counted in the chat 33 takedowns in one game.
That's a lot of takedowns, and it worked very well. That was a fantastic back and forth. Once again, the new teams of the league showing up and just proving that they are here to, well, get lots of points.
Yeah, they're here to stay. They're here to show show up and make a name for themselves. And big kudos to BTG nonetheless. I mean, losing to CE is not, you know, something to be ashamed of, especially if you're a new team, but putting up a good show is very respectable. And at times, it looked like they were the ones winning the game. Like, if they had, you know, forced the issue a little bit harder, maybe, if they had, you know, fought these team fights a little bit more consistently, like they did at times, they could have very well taken the victory, Tetcher.